Part of growing up is realizing not everything in life is perfect, and the same goes for Red Dead Redemption 2, a game that prides itself on excellence and striving for nothing less than perfection. The legacy it's left behind that still holds true all these years later is just how revolutionary it was.
God, I hate this swampy shithole. You know I even got a mosquito bite on my pecker.
I didn't, and definitely didn't need to.
Endless details and interactions that I've never seen in any game before or since. One of the top 10 best-selling games of all time and hailed by players as being the greatest video game ever created. Make sure you're sitting down because you may be stunned to see some of the things Rockstar neglected to remember in Red Dead Redemption 2. Starting off with the man himself, Marion.
What's your real first name then?
Marion.
Marion? My oh my. What a nasty mama and daddy you must have had.
One of the original four, Bill is one of the most loyal members to the gang.
Because he found me in a gutter when I was drunk and I was dumb and I was lost. And he raised me up, and I will never forget that. And no matter what that fool says, Dutch is special.
Based on his military record and years he survived as a highwayman, Bill has already lived some life. Just on his looks alone, one would assume he's in his 30s to 40s. But what if I told you that at the time of Red Dead Redemption 2's story, Bill was originally supposed to be 17 years old? Well, that's according to Red Dead Redemption 1's lore. It wasn't until the release of the second game in 2018 that Rockstar decided to change Bill's actual age in 1899 from 17 to about 33, making him 45 years old by 1911, which actually fits his character's looks a lot better than him being 29 during John's story.
You implore me? You implore me!
A rather big change in terms of lore, but one I suppose they can get away with. The thing they can't get away with is blatantly and unnecessarily adding equipment that wasn't even invented in 1899. I'm pretty sure you've seen it countless times already, but have any of you ever questioned it? Of course, I'm talking about wooden pallets. Yes, pallets of all things. It's a little ridiculous, I know, and it likely goes unnoticed most of the time, but come on, man. For a studio that pays attention to nearly every last molecule of detail, it's surprising to see them mess something like this up. Now, sure, it's not the first time in human history the idea of a pallet was thought of, as it goes back into the ancient times. So that's not exactly all inaccurate. The earliest forms of pallets were actually referred to as skids. They'd just be pulled by hand or by livestock. And during this time in history, around 1899, skids were also used on cranes to load things onto locomotives for the railway. The detail Rockstar failed to correct here are the slots on either side of the pallet for the forks on a forklift machine. Those things weren't really seen until sometime during World War I, which is like 15 years after the fact. So why'd they even put these on? I'm not sure, but it's such a small, insignificant detail that the massive success of the game overshadows something as minor as this. But that's common for the Western genre. A lot of people, for the most part, may be unaware that Westerns are generally full of anachronisms and aren't as authentic to historical accuracy as you may think. And this is just one of many, many examples out there. Something that recently caught my eye when customizing Arthur's outfits is how Rockstar added, yet again, another historically inaccurate detail, but this time to our drip, man. There are a lot of different boot styles to choose from, and many of them have a distinct little stitching design on the tops. This is what's called a toe bug, a small ornamental feature that serves for both functionality and decoration purposes. The primary purpose of a toe bug is to help the leather naturally crease at the flex point of your forefoot so it doesn't wrinkle or otherwise damage the leather on the shoe. I will be honest, I do not know the origins of the toe bug. I've seen some articles that claim it became a popular trend sometime in the 1980s. I don't exactly know how much truth there is in that, but what I do know is that this is more than likely not a style worn on boots in 1899. I'm certain this isn't something most cowboys had, and Rockstar adding it to Red Dead Redemption 2 was most likely to give the player more options for expressing their character's fashion.
Goddamn fucking hippies. What the fuck?
There isn't much more you can think of that isn't in this game. They really thought of everything, except basic chemistry. graphical enhancements, groundbreaking physics, and the most intelligent NPCs I've ever interacted with. The snow physics were some of the best ever seen in a video game, and amazed both players and critics alike. So what exactly is the deal here? The snow up here is immune to fire. That's what the deal is, sir. Now before I completely bash them for missing this, it appears it wasn't completely forgotten. If you set up camp somewhere in the snow, there will be a circumference of snow melt around the fire, indicating the heat melted down the first few feet of snow around it. So then tell me why when you toss a Molotov onto the ground, it doesn't melt the snow like it does here. Even in The Last of Us Part 2, this is a unique feature that's present. Come on, Rockstar, really? You took an L from The Last of Us 2? I mean, who am I kidding? Red Dead 2 is still miles better than Last of Us 2.
Why are you doing this?
As great as Red Dead Redemption 2 is, it certainly can be better. One way that Rockstar could have easily improved it was by adding multiplayer elements into story mode. Or at least evolve the guns, man. I mean, what the... There were tons more weapons than this in 1899, so what gives? Why are we so limited with our selection of firearms, but we have countless axes and other melee weapons that make absolutely zero sense to me? I feel like even in the first Redemption game we had a better variety of weapons. From the already small list of firearms to choose, some are not even accurate to the time period the game is set. Like the semi-auto shotgun or the Carcano rifle, both weren't officially invented until 1902 and 1938 respectively. The semi-auto shotgun is based on the real-life Browning Automatic 5 or the Auto 5/A5, which does not officially begin production commercially until 1902, which does make it accurate to the epilogue's time, which is set in 1907.
Go crazy! Ah, go stupid! Ah!
But the fact Arthur uses one in 1899 is highly unlikely, as the earliest prototype of the weapon dated as far back as 1898, just a year or so prior. The Carcano rifle is based on its real-life counterpart, but inaccurately portrayed in the game. Instead of the OG 1891 Carcano, Rockstar decided to go with the 1938 model instead. Not sure why. Even the US Army in the game are equipped with the wrong weapons. Most are seen with the Lancaster, or what we know in real life as the Winchester. But this weapon was never adopted by the military. They should instead be equipped with already existing in-game weapons, such as the bolt-action or Springfield rifles, and double-action sidearm revolvers, but I can go more into that in another video. The final point I wanted to bring up quickly, since I know this video has gone on long enough, is the hair and shadowing in this game. Sure, it's impressive in scale and grandeur, but a closer inspection reveals the impurities.
Damn!
Some of the hair physics are absolutely brilliant, but graphically they are questionable. Like, what does this remind me of? Like the Windows or Microsoft Paint app thing. It just looks off. Like, you know what I'm talking about? The brush in the old painting apps? You don't need me to point that out to you. Same as the shadowing. It's obviously not the greatest, but the overall experience of this game is worth a few hiccups you find. Just from a masterclass studio like Rockstar, I'd expected more, and I'm not trying to be ungrateful, because this is simply put one of the most enjoyable life experiences for me ever. Playing through Red Dead Redemption 2's story for the first time is something I will never forget. If anyone is awake, you may go now. If anyone's asleep, let me give you a kiss. There's more I can talk about, but I'll do that in another video, depending on how well this one does. So I guess I ain't gotta keep on yapping. Stay safe, and adios, amigos.
Make your move, quick!
Hey, Morgan! Morgan, you got any hair pomade?
Excuse me?
You know, hair pomade.
No.